There's just something about home invasion horror that hits different. Zombies, cool, slashers, they're fun, but a random person breaking into your house, now that is real life terrifying. That's the kind of fear that sticks with you after the credits roll, because at the end of the day, your home is supposed to be the one place you're safe. The second the safety gets ripped away, it's game over. And what makes home invasion so effective is how simple they are. No supernatural rules, no ancient curse, no haunted artifact, just someone deciding they want inside and now you're trapped. Some of these movies lean more thriller, some go full horror, some are brutally intense, some are more psychological, but every single movie on this list will make you double check your locks before bed. We've got obsessive homeowners, we got burglars who pick the wrong house, we've got situations where the victim has a major disadvantage, and we've got one of the greatest home invasion horror movies ever on this list. So if you're into that intense, on the edge of your seat suspense feeling, thinking, what would I do in this situation? Well, you're in the right place because we're counting down 5 home invasion horror movies that you need to watch. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like and subscribe button to help out the channel, but enough yapping, let's get started. Our first movie is The Intruder from 2019. This one definitely leans more thriller, but don't get it twisted, this is still a horrifying and terrifying movie. And honestly, I'm a person who says all thriller movies are also horror. I believe thriller is kind of a subgenre of horror, in my opinion. So even if you say it's thriller, whatever, I'm still throwing it in the horror category because to me it is horrifying still. Especially home invasion thrillers. Those are definitely horror. The Intruder stars Michael Ealy and Megan Good as a couple who buy their dream home in Napa Valley only to realize their previous owner isn't quite ready to let go. And that previous owner, played by Dennis Quaid, who completely steals the movie. It follows a young married couple who purchases a beautiful country house thinking they've started a peaceful new chapter in their lives. But the man who sold it to them, Charlie Peck, keeps showing up. At first it feels friendly, maybe a little awkward, then it gets weird, then it gets dangerous. What starts as an uncomfortable visit slowly turns into an obsession, manipulation, and eventually full-blown terror inside their own home. The acting in this movie is insane. Dennis Quaid is so unhinged in the best way possible. He plays that smiling but everything's all good type of energy, but you know he's up to no good. He plays that character so well, and it just keeps you second guessing him anytime he's on the screen. He's even more disgusting in this movie than he is in The Substance when he's chewing on that shrimp with his mouth wide open. And the tension builds in such a way that you scream at the characters like, why are you letting him back in your house or anywhere near your property? Like if I was in this film, and a lot of the home invasions, you do have to kind of take that into account, that the characters are very dumb in pretty much all home invasion movies, except for a couple, which we'll talk about later. So it's kind of hard for this to be one of my favorite subgenres because a lot of these movies are bad, in the sense that you kind of know that they have to be stupid. But in this one, they are pretty dumb as well. I mean, I would have to take care of this guy at the beginning. Like, this guy keeps coming back, he's acting weird, all right, we're done, you're not coming back on here, or, you know, we're gonna have to get out the Glock. The ending is intense, chaotic, and scary in the best way possible because it's not just awkward anymore, it's actually dangerous, and now it's a game of survival. Fun fact, the film was shot in Napa Valley, California, and the house itself almost feels like a character. It's wide open, isolated, and beautiful, which makes the invasion feel even more violating. You can find The Intruder on YouTube and Apple. Our second movie is Panic Room from 2002. Now this is a masterclass in tension. This one's directed by David Fincher and it stars Jodie Foster and a young Kristen Stewart actually as a mother and daughter who move into a massive New York brownstone complete with high-tech panic rooms. It sounds safe, but until the intruders break in the very first night that they're there. After moving into their new home, Meg and her daughter Sarah quickly discover that the previous owner left behind more than just furniture. When burglars break in searching for something hidden inside the house, the two retreat to the panic room, a reinforced surveillance-equipped safe space designed for emergencies. But the only problem, the thing that the intruders want, is inside the panic room with them. From there, it becomes a claustrophobic battle of strategy, patience, and survival. The suspense in this movie is absolutely insane. Talk about a thriller, this one is a thrill. The way the movie unfolds feels so controlled and so manipulated, and that was the director's intention. David Fincher uses smooth, almost floating camera movements that travel through walls, floors, and even keyholes, making the house feel like a maze. It's creative and incredibly intense. And even though it's more of a thriller, it has brutal, incredibly kind of gory moments that hit really hard. The violence feels real and messy, and it kind of makes you hate most these burglars. Like, of course, you're not going to like them, but they're really unlikable. You actually feel like you're trapped with these characters and wondering what would you do in this situation. It's one of those movies that makes you hold your breath. And this is one of the home invasions I was talking about earlier, where the characters actually aren't stupid. They're actually very smart, and the situation they're in is just actually such a unique situation and very creative by the writer to come up with this idea, because like, to think of a way to make a home invasion movie where the characters don't have to be stupid is very impressive. And that also makes it terrifying because the situation is kind of so realistic. There's no supernatural elements, just being stuck in your own home with people who want something you have. Fun fact, the digital camera work in this film was groundbreaking for 2002. The seamless, impossible shots traveling through the house were very revolutionary at the time. You can watch Panic Room on YouTube and Google Play. Our third movie is See For Me from 2021. Now this one is such a unique twist on the home invasion concept. See For Me takes a simple idea, someone alone in a house during a break-in, and flips it in a way that instantly raises the stakes. The main character, Sophie, is blind. She's house-sitting a secluded mansion when thieves break in and she can't see them. It follows Sophie, who is the former competitive skier who lost her vision and now makes money house-sitting luxury homes. One night, while staying at a remote mansion, intruders break in looking for a hidden safe. Alone and unable to see, Sophia uses an app called See For Me, which connects her to a volunteer who can see through her phone's camera. On the other end is Kelly, a former Army veteran who is an absolute goat and helps her guide through the house and in real time as well, because she can see through that camera. And then what follows is a tense cat and mouse survival situation where Sophie has to rely on sound, instinct, and someone she's never met to make it out alive. The premise alone for this movie is super interesting. We've seen home invasion movies before, but the twist of her not being able to see changes everything. And granted, there's a movie later on this list that this one is most likely inspired by, so we won't give it too much credit, but still very creative and a great premise. Every creak, every breath, it's so tense. Everything just feels amplified. Every thought, you can like hear thoughts in this movie. The tension is constant because we as viewers can see what's happening, but Sophie can't. The gap just creates so much anxiety, and the way the movie uses silence is absolutely genius. It forces you to listen closely, just like she has to. The ending is awesome too. It doesn't just rely on luck. It's absolutely earned in Sophie, and all the characters that aren't the burglars are very likable. Fun fact, the film makes heavy use of sound design to put the audience in Sophie's perspective. At times, the audio drops into near silence to stimulate her sensory experience, making it way more immersive than you would ever expect. You can watch See For Me on AMC and Sling TV. Our fourth movie is Hellions from 2015. Alright, this one is the most low-budget movie on this list, but it has such a specific, very unique vibe that I really like and enjoy about this film. And there's actually a video coming later out that I'm gonna do that is a fever dream movies, and this one could have very well been on that list as well, but I decided to put it here. Hellions leans into that Halloween atmosphere. It takes place on Halloween night, which I absolutely love, and that makes it stand out for me. As you know, my favorite type of movies in general are any movies that take place with Halloween or have anything to do with Halloween. So Halloween horror movies, if you want to put it into a subgenre, Halloween horror movies is my favorite subgenre. If you're someone who loves the Halloween aesthetic, the orange lighting, the pumpkins everywhere, you know, the banners, maybe even stickers around the Halloween times planted throughout the movie, then this one's for you. Also, not to mention the creepy masks, the quiet suburban streets. I mean, everything about Halloween is pretty much delivered on this front, but it is low budget, so you can't have everything you'd expecting. It doesn't have the greatest Halloween atmosphere, but for a low budget movie, I'll take it. The story follows Dora, a teenage girl who finds out she's pregnant on Halloween night. Already overwhelmed, she heads home to process everything, but then strange trick-or-treaters start showing up at her door. At first, it seems normal. Kids in costumes, but the masks are unsettling. Their behavior is off. And as the night progresses, these kids stop feeling like kids at all. What starts as awkward Halloween encounter quickly turns into full-blown home invasion nightmare. And the home invasion turns out to be way more personal than you'd ever expect. This one isn't about big action set pieces or non-stop chaos. This one is more atmospheric and surreal. Very surreal. Like I said, this one feels like a fever dream, like deja vu. It has this weird pink lighting over like half of the film, and you might not like it, you might hate it. Honestly, I don't know if I like it or not, but it's interesting to say the least. The lighting, again, is very stylized. Lots of heavy orange and red tones that almost make it feel dreamlike, or like a bad dream you can't wake up from. The trick-or-treater masks are genuinely creepy too. They're simple but effective, and sometimes that's all you need. And because it's such a small-scale story, it feels so intimate. You're trapped inside the house with Dora pretty much the whole entire movie. There's no backup coming for weird reasons. Can't really say why, but kind of what she thinks is there is not really there. It's, you know, it's like a fever dream. And for that reason, no one's really coming to save her, even though she can try. And it's super surreal and pretty scary, especially to be in that situation. And at the very least, it's a home invasion, so it's not going to be a good situation. Fun fact, the movie was directed by Bruce McDonald, who's known for indie horror projects. The stylized color grading and surreal tone were intentional choices to make the film feel more like a fever dream rather than a straightforward slasher. You can find Hellions on Pluto and Roku for absolutely free. Our fifth movie is Hush from 2016. Man, if we're talking home invasion horror, this one is the one. And like I was saying earlier with See For Me, most likely is kind of inspired from Hush. If I had to guess, it came out after, and it's just kind of taking what Hush did and doing it the opposite way, I guess. And it's super interesting here. Hush is honestly one of, if not the greatest home invasion horror movies ever, maybe one of my favorites at least. The concept alone is absolutely terrifying. The story follows Maddie, a deaf writer who lives alone in a secluded house in the woods. She moved out there for peace and quiet to focus on her writing and escape distractions, but one night, a masked intruder starts stalking her outside the house. And here's the nightmare fuel. She can't hear him. She can't hear footsteps. She can't hear glass breaking. She can't hear him breathing behind her. The simple twist takes an already terrifying scenario and cranks the tension up to another level. Every scene makes it feel like it could explode at any second. What makes this movie so effective is how stripped down it is. There's barely any music. There isn't a lot of loud jump scares either. It's all tension and quiet, creeping tension. The mask design is simple but creepy, not overly flashy, just enough to feel real, and that realism makes it scarier. But the strength here is Maddie as a character. She's smart, she adapts, she doesn't just run around screaming. This is another one where this situation is she's actually being smart and making smart decisions because she's actually goated. You're genuinely rooting for her, and watching her problem solve in silence while you know she can't hear is not only impressive but makes it very intense. And the location, an isolated house in the middle of the woods, no neighbors, no one can hear you, you're all alone. But I will say that's the only thing that makes Maddie as a character stupid, is that she decided to live in a house in the middle of the woods all alone when she can't hear. But it is a beautiful house, so, you know, I don't know. The film was directed by Mike Flanagan, who later went on to create The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass. You can already see his style here. Slow burn tension, character-driven horror, and emotional stakes mixed with fear. You can watch Hush on Tubi and Pluto for free. So there are my 5 home invasion horror movies that you need to watch, but my top recommendation is actually going to be Panic Room from 2002. Somehow I never hear it being talked about enough, and actually I never heard about it until doing research for this video, and it's absolute insane tension from start to finish. And there's also some huge name actors in here, so that's another reason why I'm confused on why I never heard it being talked about. Maybe that's just me and other people have, but it just went under the radar for me. The way the story traps the characters in the claustrophobic space keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time, and it's impossible not to imagine yourself trying to figure out how you'd escape. The acting, the suspense, the twists, it all comes together perfectly, making it, for me, a standout in the home invasion subgenre. If you haven't seen it yet, seriously, go do yourself a favor and watch it. And as always, let me know down below which one of these that you've seen that may be the one that's your favorite, or let me know if I missed any down in the comments below. Please drop a like and hit that subscribe button, or there will be someone in your walls. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and peace!